Alright, fellow TIs, I wanted to share this video with you all. It's a video of a channel that I usually watch from time to time. As you see right there, the title says Terrence Pop. He is going into the red flag laws and when it comes to firearms and some of the things that comes in regulation of the situation. Now, you all may be wondering, like, well, why would you show a video, encasing this? It's because simple. The perps are always trying to set you up. I remember a fellow TI even mentioned, that they were trying to, whenever you are in possession of a firearm, they do try to get that away from you. They do try to, come up with, bullshit ass, pardon my language, but stupid reasons just for you not to be able to defend yourself. So you won't be, so you'll be more of an offenseless situation. You don't have a firearm and you won't be able to, combat them on equal terms if things, if something very unexpected comes up. Now, you've all seen most of my videos already. When it comes to dealing with these perps, I don't engage with them. I do not, I don't even bother talking to them. I don't even bother acknowledging the stuff that they say. And it's because it's just a setup. The whole thing from the beginning is a setup, even before it even starts. That's just it. It's a setup that you can just walk away from, that you don't have to engage. You don't have to acknowledge these idiots who just accept money to do these dirty deeds. They're going to pay for their actions eventually. But you do not have to, you don't have to waste your time dealing with them. For me, I'm doing way different than I used to. I'm not giving these bastards my energy. I'm not giving them my time. I'm not wasting my ears on their bullshit. I'm not doing it because these people, they're not the types of individuals who are in any way, shape, or form in their right to ever judge anybody at this point. Not with what they're doing, no. So I keep that analogy on hand, and I also keep the analogy that the Most High is watching everything that's going on. So, all that's being seen and done, the Most High sees this, and, he's seeing, the Most High is seeing all of this tamperism that they're doing. So, that part's taken care of, all that's taken care of. But I don't allow their tactics to get me to, lose my way. It's not easy, especially if you're on a grid. Just because understand, when you are in a fixed, closed location like this, they are constantly, they're going to be constantly hitting you with these weapons. They're going to be constantly trying to read your mind. They're going to be constantly trying to, cause all this kinds of stuff. But when you're in when you're in a location that's actually movable, they can't really F with you as much like that. Because they depend on you being gone. Then they'll do their bullshit. Then and it doesn't really work out when you leave out. And I'm grateful for what Miss SH Space P mentioned, that when it comes to like when you're on a bus, they do what's known as a Wi-Fi drag. So if you're ever riding on any of these, people need to understand, like when it comes to any structure, when it comes to the system, they're going to mess with it. When it comes to being on a grid, they're going to utilize the systems in the grid to basically F with you. People need to understand this and not fall victim to their schemes. Don't.
Unless you get the drop on me, you're not robbing me. If you don't have a gun, you're gonna get one hell of a motherfucking fight. And if I survive it, and I know who you are, you're fucked. Alright everybody, Terrence Pop here with another episode of Live from the Lair. Alright, now, let's see, I'm gonna go over some things that some of the fans have brought to my attention in regards to what's going on out there in the crazy pre-election world of the United States in 2020. So it's, I believe it's August 2nd, 2020 when I film this, so keep that in mind, because I don't know when this is actually going to be published on the channel. I've been keeping an eye on this whole red flag law thing. It's got me kind of worried because, like a lot of the other laws that we've had passed and policies and so forth, such as the abortion laws that took place, and it was supposed to be safe and rare. Now it's on demand up until even after fucking birth. So when I start hearing this red flag law thing, only if, they're deemed to be, a threat to the public. All right, I believe we already have something for that. If you are deemed legally insane, that they can, take away your firearms and so forth. But now, it's if you are a threat. Well, we've had something like this already happen called the VAWA laws, Violence Against Women Act. You get convicted of domestic violence, guess what? You lose your right to keep and bear arms. I have seen hundreds of guys over a 33-year military career basically have to get discharged because they were convicted of domestic violence. Now, when we hear domestic violence, we're like, oh my God, he fucking caved her face in and threw her down some stairs and beat the shit out of her. Okay, well, first of all, did that happen? Yeah, it did happen a few times. Maybe out of the 200 to 300 instances of this happening, there's maybe a dozen cases where that actually happened. And half of those, I just gotta say, they were fucking provoked. Getting fucking knocked up when they're on deployment, 125% mortgage on the house, taking all the shit and leaving, these people lose their fucking wits and they go crazy. I got it. But it's not the big problem, fucking epidemic of shit that's going on right now. It's just not the case. Okay, in the hundreds of guys that I've seen, get flushed for this bullshit, a lot of them, I would say at least half, they were just bullshit accusations that were levied in court so the woman would be in a better position to get the children and all of the cash and prizes. Even though the way it worked out, these women did get the children, but since he no longer could work, there was no cash and prizes. So, a lot of those guys wound up going in and out of fucking prison or jail. A lot of them are homeless, and a lot of them killed themselves. A large portion of these individuals were doing nothing but defending themselves. Like, for instance, she's going crazy, she's attacking him, he holds her hands to restrain her. The police get called, he's all scratched up, bruised up from being hit with objects, but she has red wrists from him holding her. Well, guess what? Lottie-dottie, everybody pile on, and guess what? He's out of the fucking army, convicted of domestic violence. And last but not least, there's a certain percentage of them who were basically accused, decided, we're gonna plea it down. Well, what a large majority of the prosecutors out there don't tell you is, we're gonna plead it down to something like very trivial. But it's still a conviction for domestic violence. You lose your firearms and you're gone. Okay, this happened to cops too. Okay, I don't know as many cops as I do soldiers, so, my stories come from the soldier side. But I have heard, because I've been talking to a lot of guys, in the divorce world and the single father world, since roughly 2008 when my divorce was finalized. And I've had a couple dozen cops basically tell me the same shit. A lot of them are driving trucks or whatever they're doing now. I mean, listen, this whole red flag law thing, it's not going to go anywhere good. In my opinion, it's just a broader net to disarm people and take guns out of citizens who have every right to defend themselves, especially in today's day and age with what's going on out in the real world. Next with Black Lives Matter and Antifa, they're basically, joined at the hip now because we're having a lot of Black Lives Matter militias showing up in certain areas and Antifa militias showing up at the same time. All right, that's not a good thing, okay? And they're running an extortion racket, especially in Minnesota, Portland, and Seattle. I've heard it's going on elsewhere. I couldn't find anything in the news feeds. But it's really odd how we're seeing the same demands showing up in these three different areas, i.e., they will hire 25% minorities. They will source and acquire 25% of what they need to run their business from minority-run businesses, and they will put up 1.5% of gross receipts to Black Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter causes. All right, that sounds like extortion to me. It also, if it's not done, you get the whole or else. A lot of these businesses are being attacked, burned, and so forth. And my personal opinion is if you're in one of these areas, get the fuck out of there right now. If you're a business owner, you might have to handle your own business and then have to deal with the legal technicalities on the back end. Now, we've heard a lot of stuff in the media about the feds are pulling out of Portland. Well, I know a couple guys happen to be in that area doing stuff. Not really going to go into detail. And they are not pulling out of Portland. Okay. They are on standby, which in military speak is QRF, which means Quick Reaction Force, because the state police and the city police are now doing their job and protecting the area around the courthouse. Now, because it's getting less attention because the feds supposedly pulled out, BLM is now attacking and operating in some of the local suburbs in and around Portland. If you're in a suburb in and around Portland, you might want to load your 12 gauges, your pistols and rifles, and put yourself on standby and get to know your neighbors, because you may or may not have to put suppressive fire on certain individuals in your neighborhood if they show up there and decide to get stupid. I'm just saying. Are we going to move to another board now?
Are you sick and tired of woke lefty culture? You enjoy books and art, but hate commie propaganda?
Fuck dyslexia.
If so, Punch Riot is for you. Feminists and snowflakes love to hate the politically incorrect humor, fiction, art, and commentary because Punch Riot apologizes for nothing. Go to punchriot.com for a free sample as well as podcasts, interviews, and live stream discussions of other politically incorrect content. And for just $5 a month, you'll get 2 complete issues in a printable PDF. So be sure to subscribe, because every time you do, a millennial pudwhack in Seattle cries.
This one's not going to be quite as long here, but it is what it is. Now, Minnesota, Portland, and Seattle. All right, these police departments in these areas are being defunded or flat out disbanded, and they have sent out messages to the citizens that they're responsible for. Now, they didn't use this language exactly, but when you boil away all the bullshit and sift it through the screen of stupidity, basically they're saying, everyone out there is on your own and you need to handle your own shit. All right, that's number one. Number two, they're also advising not to resist. So if you're approached by individuals and say they want to burn your house down, just get your children or people out of the house, let them do what they're going to do. If they rob you, hey, just hand over your shit. Your life is more important. And and so forth. Alright, now, for guys like me, that ain't gonna work. I'm not gonna play those games. Unless you get the drop on me, you're not robbing me. If you don't have a gun, you're gonna get one hell of a motherfucking fight. And if I survive it, and I know who you are, you're fucked. Because there's nowhere on the face of this earth I can't find you. And I know a lot of motherfucking people, just saying. So, bottom line, these blue states, these blue cities that are run by the Dems are rapidly turning into absolute hellholes. Now, the people who voted for these ignorant fools that are doing this bullshit, perhaps you've learned a lesson, and in the future, you might want to not vote for the Democratic Party, because they've shown their true colors here of communist and socialistic ideas. That has never ended well, not in any country ever that has ever been adopted. And it has cost hundreds of millions of lives from 1900 to 1999. And it looks like might cost a few million more moving forward into the future. Who knows? Alright, now, the Democratic Party has shown their true colors here. Alright, like I said before, they're basically flat out communists and socialists. And Biden, the presidential nominee for that party, is nothing more than a tool and a figurehead. Unfortunately, he did not know when to pack it in and say enough is enough, and he's being talked into a very bad position for himself. It's obvious he's suffering from type of illness that happens when you get older. You can call it dementia, Alzheimer's, what have you. But it's not a good thing. And basically, whoever he picks for the vice president is going to wind up being the president. And that is not going to end well for this country in any way, shape, or form. So take it with a grain of salt. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I hope it never happens, and I hope a year from now I can drink a beer and laugh about all these videos, but something deep inside me is telling me that this is no laughing matter, and it is serious as a motherfucking heart attack.
Alright, so there's the video. People don't even respond to these perps. Whenever they use the tactics of harassment, all categories of harassment, by the way, right? When these perps do this, it's all meant to instigate a reaction. It's all meant to basically get you to react. That's the whole point of it. You don't react, they get more desperate. This is why I always carry equipment, and I call this shit out before it happens. I call it out saying that, these people are there to set me up. I'm not there. Whenever I go out doing my daily routine, I'm only minding my business, and I'm not bothering nobody. I'm not causing any harm to nobody. I mean no harm to no one. That's it. I don't ask these people to do what they do. They doing what they're doing because they're paid off for control. That's just the bottom line to it. Now, just so we can set the record straight, understand not all cops are crooked. There are some good cops out there, but I could actually look for the videos and show you all. In fact, you could do this yourself if you wanted to. Countless amounts of cops who actually, and they never show these cops on the news. I've already showcased the video, just allowing you to understand just how evil the beast media really is. So when it comes to, good cops, they're never really gonna just circle around that. You know, they're not gonna do that. There may be maybe one or two cases where they will, but on the majority of the time, no. And it's either due to just favoritism of advertisement on that. So, long story short, you cannot trust the media. Don't believe that. Don't watch. If you're watching cable TV, stop, because there's no telling how much subliminal messaging they're pumping through that thing, especially a smart TV. Considering Project, you don't even just have that. You also got Project Bluebeam going through that too. So that's a bad combination to have. As you all know, what I got planned is basically getting out of here before this month ends. It's not going to be safe in the cities. That's as best as I can tell you. It's not that every city is under these attacks like this, as far as these writings, but you know, it's getting there. It's a huge possibility that it's going to get there. Once again, I'm not making these videos to try to encourage fear in any way. I'm only making these videos to encourage awareness. Fellow TIs, you should already know better than to not fall for their tricks at this point, but at the same time, that's easier said than done, considering that we also have some TIs who may not be aware of what the situation is. I have definitely seen some channels where people were doing stuff they shouldn't be doing, and what I mean by this is they were doing exactly what I did when I first got victimized by this, and I get it. You won't understand it at first. There's no way this whole operation is so sinister that you wouldn't even know how to really deal with that. But you need to understand, you cannot be reacting to what they're doing. You cannot let what they're doing bother you. You can't do that, because that's what that's what they're trying to focus in on. To basically try to make that connection. They can't. One of the biggest things that defeats this technology is positivity. Christian music has been a key factor of this, since it centers you. That's a good way to basically defeat this technology. And some people may see this video, you may not understand where I'm coming from when I'm saying this. Just check back at the older videos, and then you would understand. Or even check my other channel, Mischievous Space M. It has a lot of detailed information on the situation that goes on. In other situations, though, besides that, man, man. In other situations, in regards to that, there's also other ways that you can actually, deprogram yourself from this. Remember, you cannot defeat negativity with negativity. It's got to be with positivity. It's pretty obvious you can't trust any random person that comes towards you, considering the situation. And that's what makes it so damn difficult, because I want to be able to just tell people what's going on. But as you see, they have people out on their payroll. They probably got inactive people who are just keeping an eye on things, just in case something happens. And I have noticed that too. I have. That in fact, I noticed that firsthand when I had was trying to basically alert people on what was going on, and all of a sudden, that one person out of the group, out of the bunch, was actually having perp-like behavior. So it's not an easy thing, considering that you're all, whenever the minute you walk outside, they already got it set up to where you're around the rotating box. I'd say it would have to be the people closest to you who are most likely a part of that rotating box, but it's a possibility that person might not even be aware or involved. Big possibility. However, the situation doesn't, they can't just use that on any terrain in any area. That's not possible. They can only use the rotating box in an area where there's people where they can blend in, and the environment actually allows them to blend in, such as the supermarket. They could just pretend like they're shopping, right? Pretend like they're just an everyday customer. They're not customers. They're there to stalk you, and they're there to basically keep an eye on what you're doing and to watch what you're buying. And in the meantime, whatever you're buying, they're already in preparation to lace these items. When you're gonna notice most, if not all the time, that they will be on their phones when they're doing this. Sometimes they won't even be on their phone. But I guarantee you this, that's an informant to basically inform them that you did pick up a package of some sort. And I know this because I had actually picked up a whole bunch of stuff. And on certain occurrences, like they would, as soon as it's something different from what I usually buy, they make sure they say it loud enough. They come up with a bullshit excuse, and they do this on purpose, to where they can, just shout the name of it out. They know. They know if it's anything different from the local list that I would get, they would immediately shout it out to so alert the people around. He's buying something different. Now, coincidentally enough, as soon as I'm at the store and I'm getting ready to check out and I'm ready to leave, they always open up the front area to where they had that cashier open. That's basically the I think it was the like the management station. I can't recall the actual name of that, but they always open that up every time. Every time. You want to know why they do that? It's because they can, those perps came there to stalk. They didn't come there to shop. So whatever little crap that they had, they get them over there to get them, to get them out the store quick enough to where they can hurry up and get to their cars, because they don't want me to see what cars they're in. They don't want you to see that. So they want to get them out fast enough so that they can continue to basically stalk me on my way out. Now, understand, people who are not aware about TIs yet understand nothing that happens in a TI's life whenever they go out. They could just do something completely simple as just grocery shopping. They can do something completely simple as just going outside jogging, trying to just be free, be to themselves and not cause anybody any harm. But you have certain circumstances to where like these people will be hired to basically psyop the crap out of them. Constant setups, constant gaslighting, harassment attempts, a lot of this stuff. But it's important to basically deprogram yourself from this TIs. It's very important to do that. You have to do that if you're going to be able to even deal with this stuff as best as I have been. And something, because I said it before, I say it again, because of me being on the grid, that's why I'm constantly relaced with this stuff. Because of me being in an apartment, and since this is a fixed home location, that's why I'm constantly relaced. I'm constantly under the effects of this radiation, and if I didn't have Wi-Fi, there's other people that got Wi-Fi that's beaming out radiation. When they put this stuff down, understand it's a fungus that grows. Since that fungus is growing and it's repairing that biofilm and stuff like that, that's what turns the system back on. You take that stuff out of the equation, and they have no choice but to try to bring the stuff to you. They expose themselves. So at that point, and by the way, they don't do that to the point to where you actually will be able to see them and get the footage of it. They really don't want to do that at all. I'd say if you stayed out of a fixed location or whatever, and you were nowhere near like no bus routes or nothing like that, nothing with Wi-Fi or anything like that, nothing with Bluetooth or anything like that, and you did nothing but detox yourself, I guarantee you this, that you would shut that shit off. As long as you detox the right way. First off, you got to get all those heavy metals out. That's one part of the problem. The second thing, you also got to deactivate the nano that's in your body. The way to do that is with the anti-nano bucket or barrel. With the barrel, you can actually get a lot of this stuff out, at a larger amount of pace than with the bucket. Not to mention, because it's not just when I go in there, it's not just handling my legs. It's also handling my my torso, my arms, my hands, all of that, man. Even my neck, my head, all of that. But when you got to understand, when you're in there, you cannot be moving around. I don't know if a lot of people notice, but when you're in that, you cannot be moving around. You got to actually sit still for a bit, and then that's when you start to feel the effects of this stuff start to pull all of that stuff, all of that junk out of your system. I took like two two barrel baths in the last 2 days, and I could actually feel where these heavy metals at on the back. I can literally feel where that damn crown is forming, like right along my skull and shit like that, along to the bottom of my neck, all the way down to the back of my, right in the center of my back, where my center of gravity is. Now, I guess that's about it. That's pretty much just that's just pretty much just the warning vid for now. This is maybe it's gonna be the last vid for the day, possibly this month. Once I fix the other phone, I guess, I'll start uploading videos there on the new channel. But I'm gonna just leave it at that. Both my prayers and love is out to you all. Stay safe, and as always, stay strong.